Hello everyone. I'm Arend, giving this canvassing training workshop today in preparation for No Kings. I've newly created a slide deck for this, so we'll see how it goes. I'm excited for us to run more of these. So we are recording today, in case other people want to get this information later. So if anyone has any objections to that, feel free to leave your camera off. But otherwise, I'd love to have everybody have their cameras on to have everyone here and engaged because it will be an interactive day today. So starting with that, I would love to do a round where I hear from where everybody's from and also what's your why? What brings you to this movement, makes you excited to be out canvassing? And we're going to go ahead and limit each person's why to about 60 seconds just for time. So just for mine, hi, I'm Arend. I'm based here in Los Angeles. And I'm really excited about voting reform because of a problem called electability bias. I feel like I constantly had candidates that I was excited to support. I'm getting a phone call. Don't know what's going on. Okay. I'm gonna airplane mode my phone. Um, so I was constantly excited for different candidates, only to be told that they weren't electable. And I want the conversation to be about which candidate has the best ideas rather than who's electable. And vote if there's a better voting method, we could actually achieve that. So that's me. Let's go, Justin. And yeah, where are you calling in from, and what's your why?
Hi, I'm from the Northern Virginia area, kind of in the Fairfax County. I think I got pulled towards star voting and kind of other voting methods in general, simply because I think it's just really interesting to see how limited we are as a country in terms of like being able to express the way that we can um, our preferences. And I think star voting gives, and other types of voting in general, just provide more alternative ways to collect more information back from the population. And in order to make informed decisions, in order to make informed policy, you need that feedback from the populace. And I think being able to get more feedback is a great way to start.
Great, thank you, Justin. Let's go with Nikki and then Johnny.
Hello, my name is Nikki. I use he, him pronouns. I am here in San
You don't.
Francisco. Why? Um, it's kind of like, I think it's kind of like analogous to voting. Like, people always say, well, why should I vote? My vote doesn't matter. And the bitter pill is probably statistically, that's probably true. It's just one vote. But I say, what probably matters is a lot more is getting out and mobilizing people to vote. And I think I feel kind of similarly about protests. I liked going to them more when I was younger, not so much when I'm older. So when I go now, I sort of want to go the extra mile in some way and canvas or, gather signatures or something. So I feel like I'm getting a little more out of it. Um, and one of the things I'm most passionate about is voting reform. Love working with the Equal Vote Coalition and pretty new, only been involved for a few months. But I am really looking forward to and am enthused about canvassing for star voting and other better voting methods at No Kings. So we last minute Indivisible gave us a table at No Kings San Francisco, which there are only like 50 of them. Just found out last night. We kind of snuck in at the last minute. So I'm pretty stoked to be there in the center of action and have a table of some other activists and organizers. So yeah, looking forward to it and glad to get some training here.
Great, thank you, Nikki. All right, we'll move on to Joni next, and then Lynn. Where are you located, and what's your why? And you're muted, by the way.
There we go. I'm Joni. I'm in Salem, Oregon, and I see a lot of problems, and at the base of those problems is the voting. We can't vote for who we really want, just like you were saying, Aaron. And I see that as the base of the problem. And if we can fix that, all those things on top are going to just fix also.
Great, thank you. Now, Lynn, where are you located, and
Hello.
what's your why?
Sure. Hi from the most northwest corner of Oregon. I'm in Astoria, and I've been involved for a bit now, and I think it even predates our current president's first election. And what motivated me was that we clearly did not have a representative government. We had a bunch of old white guys, primarily, who just kept getting reelected and were not in touch with real needs of real people. So voting reform um, is because I think we're not being represented. And I think if we were, we could solve problems instead of what we're doing now.
Thank you, Lynn. Next, we'll do Sherry and then Carlo. Where are you calling in from and what's your why?
I'm in Portland, Oregon. And so there's a lot of what's my why, but trying to keep it short. So, like Nikki was saying, I did a lot of protests way back when. And I learned actually, I got my master's in conflict resolution, and I learned that protest, that's like fighting against something. And so I actually abhor using that term, and I'll go to a demonstration, I'll go to a rally, I'll go to a march, but I won't call it a protest. I understand why people are protesting against, but um, for me, it's more important to say what we want as opposed to what we don't want. And that's where STAR comes in for me as a voting system, because yeah, I mean, lesser of two evils, all of that. You all know all of that. Our system's been broken. But what do we want? For me, STAR is the answer. And so promoting something that, to top it off, it's nonpartisan. So I love that it's nonpartisan. I love that it's proactive, building the new, what we want to see instead of like pushing against the old.
Thank you so much, Sherry. So we'll go Carlo, Jack, and then finish off with Sarah after that. So yeah, Carlo, where are you calling in from and what's your why?
Hi, am I good? Audible?
Y-
Everything?
Yep, yep.
Sounds good. I'm from Houston, Texas, and my why, probably the biggest thing for me is I'm trying to spread a message to people my age, that the things that we're frustrated about right now, that there are really productive things that we can push that towards. There are solutions to those problems, and oftentimes we don't properly attribute them. And I hope to be just another voice there, scrapping together whatever coalition I can here in Houston, building together something hopefully long term. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Great. Thank you so much, Carlo. Let's do Jack and then Sarah. Where are you calling in from and what's your why?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
I'm calling from Reston, Fairfax County, Northern Virginia, which is near DC. Uh, and my why is the same as Joni's for the and and thereby yours. All right. Um, you said um, getting rid of the electability bias, and that's necessary to do what Joni said, which is solve all the other problems. That's it.
Great. Thank you so much. All right. Last but not least, Sarah.
I'm Sarah Wolk, and I'm in Zigzag, Oregon, up on Mount Hood today. For me, the why I think started with the electability bias, started with vote splitting and just this kind of coercive incentive to vote for the front runner who seems like they could win, or maybe the incumbent. And from there, that got me inspired about voting reform, and that led to inspired about star voting. But I think what's kept me inspired this whole time is that just strategically, like if we wanted to have the biggest possible impact on all of the many issues that we care about, I really think that star voting is the strategic choice. I think it's the thing that can have the biggest impact, and it's also the thing that has the least people working on it. We have incredible people who like really, I think, have game theoried it out and are seeing all the dots connect. And so I really feel like we're on to something. We're the people who are in the right place at the right time. And everything that's happened since I started working on this has just reinforced how important what we're doing is, how needed it is, how important it is, and how big of an impact it could have.
Great. Thank you so much, Sarah. And this wasn't on the agenda, but I'd love to get a group picture since we have so many great people here today. So I'm going to count us down, and then I'm going to screenshot my screen. So let's do three, two, one, and I'm going to try it one more time. So three, two, one, and there we go. All right, I need to practice my screenshotting because there's like a 1 to 2 second delay when I hit the hotkey, but we're good now. I got it, everybody. So I'll go ahead and share my screen. Um, great, great, great. All right. Share my screen, share my screen. All right. Don't forget to record. I succeeded there. We finished our whys. And the reason we actually started off with our why is that's actually a pretty critical piece to canvassing. So if you're ever talking to somebody and you're not sure what to say next, your why is a great fallback. So you can always just yeah, you can just always go back to sharing that, and you can just feel confident that you have that at the ready. So why Canvas? Why are we why are we putting effort into this? So first off, canvassing is great for meeting people where they're at. It's a great way to meet people outside of our normal circle. And it also helps us to grow our capacity of volunteers and grow our capacity of people who know about star voting. So it's great for that. And the third reason why it's great to canvas is it builds preparation for campaigns. So in the future, of course, you want to have campaigns to get star voting adopted in more places. And canvassing now helps us build those muscles so that we're ready to hit the ground running when we do have a campaign in your area. The agenda for today is I'm going to go over our clipboard for maybe 10 minutes or so. And then we're going to spend most of the meeting going over the structure of a canvassing conversation. Then we're going to quickly go over some tips for those organizing canvases. Then we have hopefully maybe 15 minutes or so blocked out for Q&A, and then I'm going to reserve the last 5 minutes for doing an activity together. We're going to work together to figure out what our national canvassing goal should be. So that'll be really fun and exciting. Um, all right, and then I'm planning for this to be about a 90-minute meeting. So wherever we're at in the meeting at 5 minutes till, I'm gonna move over to the activity to determine our sign-up goal. All right, so right off the bat, before anybody asks, yes, the slide deck is available. I have the QR code right here, as well as the links to every resource I'm going to be talking about today. So I'm going to give you a few seconds to get that QR code if you'd like. And then I will also be sharing this link to this slideshow deck in the chat. And then I'll be sharing this slide again at the end. So if you didn't get it, no worries. So your clipboard. All of our clipboard resources are going to be at starvoting.org/clipboardkit. You can also get there via our activist toolkit. And here's a bullet list of all the relevant stuff you'll need for this canvas, but I'm going to go ahead and click into there just to walk you through it that way. So here on the Clipboard Kit page, first and foremost, you have your best pet quarter sheet. That is a really great resource. You're going to want to print a bunch of these out, cut them into quarters, and that's going to be a double-sided little handout that has an unfilled star ballot on one side and then information on the other side. The unfilled ballot is going to be a great activity for the person you're talking to try out during your conversation, and we're going to go over that more in a bit. So you're going to want to print out a bunch of those. We also have mini zines is another option for you to hand out. Our Etsy store is a little bit limited on stock right now, so we do recommend you use the Best Pet quarter sheet instead. But if you do happen to have mini zines, then that's a great resource to hand out as well. And we have other handouts for you to look at if interested. And then everything attached to your clipboard kit is going to be over here in this clipboard section. The sign up list is going to be probably your most important bit there, since that is the big ask today to get as many people on our sign up list as possible. And you also have a full page ballot that you're going to have taped to your canvassing clipboard, and also have canvassing script for you to look over, as well as an FAQ list for your reference. So this is all information you're going to want to have printed out for your clipboard. And I'm going to go ahead and stop my screen share so we can have my camera. And I'm going to go ahead and try and pin my camera as well so you can all see me. And here's an example of the clipboard. Yours is going to look a little bit different because I have an older version of our resources on this clipboard, but the structure is going to be about the same. So you're going to have taped to the back of your clipboard a big star ballot. And this is just a great thing for you to be pointing at as you're talking through it. And there's also going to be instructions at the top, and on your version, there's also going to be instructions below that you can even read off of if you ever want to fall back to something as you're canvassing. Then if I turn this around, I have the pet polls. That's going to be an activity for people to fill out. We're going to talk a little more about how you can use that. So I've got a bunch of those. And on your version, there's also going to be information on the back so that if you hand it out, there's more for them to look at. Then next we have our canvassing script for you to read through and reference. After the canvassing script is an FAQ list, again, for you to read and reference. And then most important is, if I navigate this with the camera, most important is the sign up list. So this is probably going to be the order that you start with, but as you get more comfortable with the reference material with the script and the FAQs, you can move the script and FAQ to the back so that when you hand this to the person you're talking to, they'll have the sign up list more front and center. Okay. So that is the clipboard kit. That's everything you'll need to, all the resources you'll need, everything you'll need to have printed out, and all that. Gonna full screen this again. And since this is no kings, you'll also want a sign. On the right, we have some example signs that our volunteers have made for previous no kings. And on the left, we also have what I thought was a pretty cool idea from one of our board members, Mike, to print out a sign that just says vote and have yes kings, no kings as two options. And you can encourage people to walk up to you and take a marker and vote for one or the other. And that's a good activity as an icebreaker to get people pulled in. So that's another thing to think about. Excellent. So now we're on to the conversation. And I'll just say we're well ahead of schedule.
Are we
We're about
supposed to
10
be
minutes.
seeing a shared screen?
Yes, you are. Let me
Well,
get that.
I'm not.
Thank you for no, that was my bad. That was totally my bad. Thank you for calling that out. So since I missed it on the screen share, here's the signs I was referring to. Um, and on the right here we have the example from previous No Kings. And on the left, we have an example where you could have this as kind of a icebreaker activity for people to go ahead and walk up and put a tally on your sign to vote one way or another. All right, and now we're at the next section of the conversation. And I'll say that we're about 10 minutes ahead of schedule, so we're looking great. All right. So to preface, I'm not a natural at canvassing. This is something that I've gotten a lot more comfortable with over time. And we're going to cover a lot of the tips that help made me more comfortable. So if you're nervous about canvassing, that's okay. We all start off that way, and there's a method to get more comfortable and get better at it. And as we go through these tips, I'm going to be referring to our FAQ and script a lot. And that is going to be a great place for you to start. But as you get more comfortable, you can also deviate from that um, to see what works for you. Throughout the presentation, I'm going to be emphasizing the principles that are embodied in our resources so that you can, even if you do deviate, you can still maintain those principles in whatever variation you have. So the conversation structure is going to be something like, going to start with an icebreaker, figuring out how to make contact with the person, get the conversation started. Then you're going to be introducing what you're there to talk about, star voting and the problem in our voting system. Then you have an activity for them to try to get them, to move the conversation forward. Then you're going to be prepared to answer any questions they may have. And then we're going to finish off with the ask, which is to get them to sign up and join our community. For the icebreaker, that's getting the conversation started. Here's a good one to try. Hi, how's it going? I'm armed with equal vote. So make it simple, personable. Don't go into talking points right away. That's something that we've found works really well. And one pro tip here is I use my name in there very deliberately. Using my name and later getting their name makes it a little bit harder for them to ignore you and also helps you to build that rapport with them. And as you're going through this conversation, building up that rapport is what's going to make it all the more likely that they'll be willing to sign up at the end. So this is an important step towards that. Another pro tip you can use when you're trying to break the ice is to start with a compliment. Hi, nice dog, nice shoes. Anything like that just helps to start off the conversation naturally. I'm still getting better at this, but people who are really comfortable with canvassing and have seen a lot of success will often use this approach. So that's the icebreaker. Now let's talk about the introduction. So you're going to give your explanation of why you're there, talking about star voting, and also sharing a bit about the problem that we're trying to fix. And you're going to refer to page 1 of your canvassing script for this. And I'm going to pull it up in a second. But the pro tip that I want you to remember is sell the brownie, not the recipe. If you look at these two pictures, the one of the brownie on the left is clearly the piece that is what makes you buy the product. The recipe, of course, is really important. That's what's necessary to create the results. But the results and the world we can create with star voting is the kind of the most important bit that we want to lead with when we're pitching star voting. So with that in mind, I'm going to jump over to the canvassing script and just kind of talk through some of these bolded sections. So the icebreaker, hi, how's it going? That's similar to what we already talked about. And then right away, we start with what are the most obvious benefits we get from star voting? You get to vote your conscience. You don't have to worry about wasting your vote. Star voting also helps us address the problem in our society where the voting system breaks when we have too many candidates, and that's the problem ultimately leads to the two-party system. And then you can lead into a very basic explanation of star voting. And again, we're leading with how the ballot works and how to fill out the ballot. And then later we get into how the tally actually works. And with the tally, I actually recommend waiting until they ask you about the tally to give that explanation. The explanation of the tally can be really great for selling star voting when it's given at the right moment. But if it's given too early, then that could be too much information too soon. So it's important to wait until they're ready to hear it. So I'll leave you to read through that more on your own. And another tip as you're going through this introduction is you can insert these questions that are designed to get a yes out of them. So like one example here is, wouldn't it be great if we could actually vote this way? Um, and so we want to elicit that yes response from them. And the trick here is if we can kind of sprinkle in these questions throughout, makes it feel a little bit more like conversation. And every time they say yes, that builds more buy-in on their side and makes it all the more likely that they'll sign up at the end of the conversation. So saying yes is getting yeses from them is a really powerful tool. Theirs was a fundraising canvassing book that I read, and that's a canvassing on hard mode, going from strangers to getting them to donate to you at the end of a conversation. And their recommendation is to try and get 7 yeses from them before you ask for the donation. And we have a smaller ask, but trying to get 2 or 3 yeses is probably still a good benchmark for building that rapport and building that buy-in from them. So next we're going to talk about the activity. No, we're not talking about the activity. We're going to do a little bit of a practice run. So let's practice our introduction, and some key pieces in the introduction are how to fill out one of the key pieces is how to fill out your star voting ballot. So we're gonna go over we're gonna go do a circle, and I'm gonna keep the screen share up because this image here is what you're gonna have on the back of your clipboard. Um, so let's see. So going, let's start with Lynn and then Nikki. Lynn, do you want to try telling us, explaining how to fill out the star voting ballot? And you can kind of give your own explanation and or fall back on what I have shared on the screen if you need to. Go ahead, Lynn.
Sure. Well, thanks for taking a look at this ballot with me. And in star voting, you score each candidate from 0 to 5 stars. You give your favorite candidate 5 stars, your least favorite candidate 0 stars, or just leave it blank. And then you also score each other candidate depending on how much support you feel for them. You can give equal amounts, and that's why it's more expressive.
Perfect. All right. Nikki, then Carla.
Is it okay if I pass? I really dislike role playing.
That's fine. That's totally
All right,
fine.
thanks. I'm great
Carla,
in the moment, but yeah.
no, yeah, that's fine. Carla, how about you?
Sure, why not? So in star voting, you rate candidates from 0 to 5 stars. You rate your favorite candidate a 5, you rate your least favorite a 0, or you don't score them at all. You can skip scores, as I said earlier, and you could have equal scores as well. As much as
Excellent. And in your explanation, I actually want to clarify something. We actually prefer to use the word score or star instead of rate. Rate is a perfectly accurate word to use, but it sounds too similar to rank. So we find it's easier just to use the words score or star, just as a
perfect.
quick bit there. Great. Let's see. The order keeps changing my participant list, but let's do Jack next. Do you want to tell us how to fill out a star ballot? And if you're speaking, you're muted.
I'm making a note about what you just said.
Okay, great. And I'll have a slide coming up on that as well.
To rate. Yeah, a star voting ballot lets you score each candidate from 0 to 5 stars, and you always want to give your favorite candidates 5 stars and your most hated candidates 0 stars. If you leave someone off, they get 0 stars. It's okay to give two candidates the same score.
Excellent. All right. Let's see. Next, let's do Joni.
This is just like giving a review on Amazon or Google. However many stars you think that you like that candidate, that's how many stars you give them. And if they have the same amount, that's great. It really doesn't matter because that's what you want. That's your importance there.
Excellent. And I think that's a really great way to explain it. That like that's yeah, it's something they can relate to. Do make sure to well, in your explanation, do make sure to call out the 0 to 5 star scale because that's one of the important bits of it. I'm not sure if I got that from it, but that's one thing to just be aware of to call out as you go. Great, thank you, Joni. Then let's do. I think Carlo, have you gone yet?
I have gone.
Okay. Um, sorry, the order keeps shifting. Let's do Sherry.
Okay. Yeah, I'm with Nikki on the whole role play thing. Like
Okay,
it
that's fine.
feels awkward, but yeah. So it's basically giving each candidate a score from 0 to 5, and you want to be as honest as possible with your favorite getting 5 stars or your favorites. I like whoever said that, and your least favorite getting 0, or if you leave it blank, they get 0. And whatever in between, just however you honestly feel about each of them, give them that number of stars, and it's okay if there's multiple people with the same number of stars.
Excellent. All right. Thank you, everybody. So did everybody go? Did I miss anybody?
You
You missed
missed
me.
me
Oh,
and
Sarah, go ahead.
Justin.
And
Um,
Justin.
Okay.
So with star voting, you score your candidates from 0 up to 5 stars, like a 5 star rating. And that lets you show not only who's your favorite 5 stars, but also how much and how little you like all your different candidates. So if my second choice is really great, I'm able to give them 4 stars or maybe even 5 if I like them as much as my favorite. Or if my second choice is lesser evil, and I prefer them over my worst case scenario, but I really don't like them, I can just give them 1 star. So that's information and nuance that we really need if we're going to find the best winners.
Amazing. And then Justin.
So as you can see here, we got 5 different animals. And, typically in a normal election, we only get to choose between cats and dogs. But in this election, we have 5 different options. And you rate them from 0 to 5. And kind of a cat person, so I'll give the cat a 5. But then I'm not really a bird person, so I'll give it a 0. And then the rest you can rate however you want. Dogs a 4, python a 1, fish a 1. But it's up to you. However you want to rate them, as long as you rate them from that 0 to 5 scale.
Excellent. All right. Thank you, everybody. Lynn, what's up?
Hey, I want to ask about the leaving it blank concept and it focusing back on everybody's concerns about voter integrity. If it's blank, I know there's all the ways we keep ballots safe, but it makes it feel, I'm not going to change your text, but I would really probably uh, suggest that you give it a 0. Otherwise, somebody else could come along and give that a different score.
That's a really good
Yeah.
point.
Yeah. Yeah, that's as you're having this conversation with them, that's a nuance that could certainly come up. We think it's important to make sure that we're counting the votes where it was left blank, just so that there's no confusion or invalidation of how we'd count it in that scenario. But yeah, for voters who are concerned about election security issues or concerned that others may add on, to it, then yeah, certainly you can bring that up. Right? So I'll go ahead and move on to the next round for those who want to try another question. And if there are more questions, or if Lynn, if you have more questions on that, we'll have some time for Q&A later. But that was a great question. All right, so we'll do another round, and this time, let's say that the person you're talking to just said, "Oh, so okay, so I know how to fill out the ballot, but how is a winner? How do we select the winner?" So let's do Carlo first. So how is a star voting election tallied?
I'm gonna try to use this. I know this is blank. I was trying to fill it out while you were going there. Imagine that like this is that. Um, this is the presentation that you're showing. It's the ballot.
Sure.
I would just say, so we count up each ballot and take account of the exact scores that we gave each candidate. And once we look at all the total scores, we see which of the top 2 had the most scores, and those 2 become finalists. And those from those 2 finalists, the ones that are on your ballot, imagine if you're seeing like one's higher than the other one. the one that is preferred more by you is counted as a vote for them, essentially. And that's what it would be if it would be like cat over here and then dog down here, and it would be lower for dog. It would be a vote for cat.
Great. Thank you, Carlo. And let me get you unpinned. And next, let's do Jack. So, how is star voting tallied?
Thanks for asking how it's tallied. It's tallied in two stages. The first is to rank the candidates by how many stars they earned from the voters. That is just the total scores they got totaled up across all the voters for a given candidate. And then the second stage is we take the top two in those rankings and compare them pairwise. It's a matter of whichever of those two was preferred by more voters over the other member of those two. That's it.
Great. Thanks so much, Jack. And I noticed you use the term rank, so just keep in mind to use the term score or star as you're explaining it.
Well, I used
Reminder.
it in the context of the tally, where it actually occurs.
Okay. Yeah, I guess I recommend saying your vote goes to whoever you scored higher to kind of avoid the situation with ranking. But yeah, you could that's fair. Like you can kind of approach it however it feels natural to you. Great. Let's see. Uh, Lynn, do you want to try this one?
Sure. Star voting is tallied by counting up each star for each candidate, and it identifies two finalists who've had the most support from the most people. Then the beauty of star voting is that your same ballot is looked at again, and of the two finalists, your full vote goes to the one you preferred.
Great. Thank you so much, Lynn. And by the way, I see comments coming in. I'm not going to be able to read them while I'm presenting. So if there's anything you want me to be aware of, just shout it out. Just wanted to throw that out there. Um, all right, who's next? Adam, thanks for joining. So yeah, we're just underway, and for this section, we're practicing how to answer the question, how is star voting tallied? And I have this on my screen share because this is what's going to be taped to the back of your clipboard. And if you are, so you have this available to you if you ever need to fall back to it as you're explaining it. So, Adam, do you want to take a shot at explaining how star voting is tallied?
Yes, so star voting is tallied in two rounds. In the first round, we sum up all the scores for all candidates. We find the two highest scoring winners, and out of those two, we find who wins as an instant runoff. And my favorite question to make sure that it's understood is like, is it possible that the candidate who had the lowest score out of the two can win in the second round? And I remember my brain always melted when I thought about that. Thank you.
Mhm. All right, thank you. Sarah, do you want to answer this one?
I would love to. So STAR stands for score, then automatic runoff, and that's exactly how it works. The two highest scoring candidates overall are the finalists, and your full vote automatically goes to the finalist you prefer. So that second round is just one person, one vote, and the finalist with the most votes wins.
Excellent. Next, Joni, do you want to give it a try? And if you're speaking, I can't hear you.
Yeah, it didn't work this time. So STAR stands for score, then automatic runoff, and score is just like it sounds. It's just addition, simple addition, like we learned in grade school. Add up all the scores, the top two, then go to the runoff. Whoever you voted for, whoever you gave the top score to, that's where your whole vote is going to go to.
Great. And I think next, Sherry, do you want to give it a try?
Okay, sure. So the nice thing about star voting is that you vote once, and It's tallied in 2 rounds, but you don't need to worry about that part. The first round is just you add up all of the stars from all of the ballots, and the 2 candidates that got the most stars are in the runoff. And then going back to the ballots that have already been cast, look at those 2 candidates, and whichever got more stars on each ballot gets that ballot's vote, or whichever got whichever you gave the most stars to gets your vote. Something like that.
Great. Thank you so much, Sherry. All right. Is there anybody who I didn't call on who would like to go? All right.
Sure. I
Oh,
can.
I'm sorry, Justin.
Yeah. Yeah. Add up all the stars. The top 2 advance to the next round. Then you compare those 2 finalists, and if you gave one more stars, then they earn 1 vote. And you add them all up again, and whoever wins out in the second round wins the election.
Great. Sounds great. Thank you so much. All right. So, I'll go back into presentation mode. So just some common pitfalls that often come up when people are explaining these. So first is the make sure that you say star is 0 to 5 stars. Some people will say 1 to 5, but star is always 0 to 5 stars. Also use the terms scores or stars as opposed to the terms ratings or rankings. Ratings is a correct term, but it sounds too similar to rankings, so we tend to prefer the terms scores or stars. And then the last one that comes up sometimes is in that final runoff, every vote counts as 1 vote towards the finalist they preferred. It's 1 vote. It's not the score that they gave to the finalist. Um, so yeah, these are just some common pitfalls to be aware of. Great. So let's jump into the activity. So um, you've you've done the icebreaker. You've introduced a little bit about why you're here talking to them, and then once you reach kind of a natural stopping point in there, you can follow up and say, "Want to try it for yourself? Take this poll and fill it out." So you'll be passing them the clipboard and a pen, and you'll have a poll right there ready for them to fill it out. So the pro tip here is this will make sure that they have the clipboard in their hands as soon as possible. And that has a couple of benefits. That helps kind of lock them into the conversation a little bit, so you don't need to be as worried about them running away. And it also helps later on when we have to ask, since they already have the clipboard right there in front of them to fill it out. Something to be aware of is to stay quiet while they're filling out the poll. Um, and this is just going to be a best pet poll that they're going to be filling out. And um, while it's silent, it may feel a little bit strange to you, but for them, they're actively experiencing the voting method and learning how it works. And that's something they may or may not do after the fact. So this is a good moment to just let them go through it. And staying quiet also gives you a breather to kind of think about your next step a little bit. And I find that helpful when I'm giving these conversations. Next is let them keep the ballot. On the back of the ballot, there is more information, as you can see here, about star voting. And that's an excellent handout for them to have available to them. So that's everything about the activity. And then if you have a zine, now would be a great time to pass it out to them. So you can pass out zines to them right after the activity. It could be easy to forget to pass out the zines, so I try to have one queued up and ready before I go into the conversation so that minimize the chance of me forgetting it. And then again, sometimes you pass people a zine and they immediately open up and start reading it. If they do that, stay quiet. Same as with the poll. And then good to be familiar with the zine or any other resources you pass out to them so that if there's things that come up in the conversation that are relevant to a particular part of the zine, you can point it out. So for example, if they want to make a poll for themselves, then it's good to know that on this yellow page of the the zine towards the bottom, there's the bettervoting.com link. So you can point to that and say, yeah, go check this page out to make your own polls. Or at the top of that yellow page, there's also a join link. So if you get all the way to the ask them to sign up, and they really don't want to sign up, but they're also seem kind of interested, then you can say, oh, you don't have to sign up today. There's a join link here in the zine I just gave you. So again, our order page is pretty much out of stock right now. So this would only apply if you happen to have zines. But yeah, if you have them, it's a great thing to pass out. All right. Moving on to step 4. So, what? Second to last step before the question. I see Sarah has her hand raised. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to clarify, we have zine making materials. We've just already mailed out all the ones that were stapled due to high demand. So feel free to place a zine order if you'd like zines to arrive on time for No Kings, and we will do our best to get them to you. But we can't guarantee it right now. So even if you don't have the zines, the quarter sheet handouts are great. But yeah, if you do want them, feel free to place an order as long as you know that they may not arrive on time.
Great. Thank you for that clarification. All right. So next, at this point in the conversation, and perhaps earlier, they may have started asking you some questions, and you'll want to know the answers to some of the most common questions. There's some common questions. I saw some of them come up in the chat already. Is this the same as ranked choice voting, or the corollary to, or the one that often comes with that question of like, why not just go with ranked choice voting? Where has star voting been used in elections to date? What happens in the star runoff if I give both finalists the same scores? These are super common questions to be prepared for. But luckily, if you check the FAQ page, that has answers to all of these that you can, yeah, be prepared for. So starting with the FAQ page is a good start. You may want to deviate as you as you practice, get more comfortable. But the pro tip to keep in mind is to be concise. As you get more comfortable with this and are aware of more of the nuances, you might be tempted to share those nuances when you're answering these questions. But if you do that, the risk is that star voting might come off as more complicated if there's too many nuances. So it's better to just give a short, direct answer to any questions that come up. And the FAQ sheet is a great reference for short, direct answers. Let's see, do I have anything else in this slide? I do. Oh, and also really importantly, you don't have to know every answer. It's okay to say I don't know. You can always refer them to the star voting website, and it can even be an impetus to sign up. Like you can say, "Oh, I don't know the answer to that question." Here, you can sign up to be in the loop for more information. I think there's something else I wanted to say about that, but I'll go ahead and pass it off to Sarah for the question. Her hand raised.
Yeah, quick thing I wanted to add. When canvassing, I think a lot of people feel like there's some pressure to be original or to be authentic. And I just want to say that it is totally okay and even good or great to read the materials directly, especially if you're showing somebody like a handout or you're showing somebody a mini zine. There's wording on there that is poll tested as the simplest, fastest, most clear way to say something. So if you read it out loud, you're going to have the highest odds of them really understanding it quickly and easily. And also, if you are saying one thing, even if you say it perfectly and they're reading it slightly different at the same time, that can be confusing. So don't be afraid to just read the resources. For the FAQs, for the script, for the handouts, we've done a massive amount of field testing and poll testing on our exact wording. So I really do recommend memorizing the materials word for word if possible. And then there are variations that work just great as well. Like for the runoff, I like to say your full vote automatically goes to the finalist you prefer. Other people really like your full vote goes to the finalist, you scored higher. Both of those work well. But as you're learning, it's just really nice to have that muscle memory around one really good option.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Sarah. Great. I think we'll go ahead and move on to the next page. I think that's all I had on answering questions. So we're at the ask. So yeah, we're making an ask for them to sign up. And just a pro tip before thinking about the timing here. So when you're making an ask, it's important to get the timing right where you don't want to be too soon or too late. A lot of times people who are new to canvassing will be a little bit nervous and might get to the ask like a little bit too quickly, but it's important to give the right amount of time to build up rapport and make sure they build up some confidence in the method and who you are, um, before making the ask. And on the flip side, you don't want to wait too late either. If they seem really gung ho about it, and if it seems like they're ready to take the ask, then regardless of which step of the conversation you're at, you can feel free to cut it short and go straight to the ask if it seems like they're ready for it. Because if you wait too long, the conversation might run into something that trips them up, or you might maybe they need to go all of a sudden after having a long conversation, and you don't want that to happen either. So time to ask. Um, Next pro tip, they should still have the clipboard and pen in their hands from the canvassing activity. So that already makes the ask a little bit easier. So a sample ask, hey, I'd love to have you in the loop for our future events. We need people like you who care about polarization in our community. Would you like to sign up? So pro tip I did there is I said you a couple times in here. I said, I'd love to have you in the loop for our future events. We need people like you who care about the polarization in our community. That helps to insert them into the narrative, and makes it easier for them to imagine being part of it, and makes all the more likely they sign up. So that's like a subtle thing in your language you can use to help prompt that sign up. And another thing to think about, we're often uncomfortable asking people to do things, but you don't have to think of this as an ask, it's an offer. We have a great community. We have an opportunity for them to make a big impact with their time. So we're inviting them to be a part of it. So this is more of an invitation or an offer rather than an ask. And in my quote here, I say I want them to be part of our future events. I'm inviting them to join in on what we have here. And you could choose to insert something different that you're inviting them to, depending on how your conversation goes. So I make a note here to see page 2 of our script for opportunities. And on page 2, it talks about all the things they get for signing up. There's our monthly meetings. There's signing up to join the effort to get Star Voting used in more organizations. They could sign up just to have more information. So that's all on page 2 of your script, and it's good to be familiar with that so that you can kind of frame the invitation to the person you're talking to. And then last, very important, it's pretty common for people to sign up and then for their handwriting to be completely illegible. People are in a hurry, they're writing on a unstable surface. So it's a good habit after they've signed it to hold it up to them and then try to read it back to them. So I'll be like, oh, just to make sure I'm reading it okay, this says I'm reading your name as this and your phone number is this. And that just makes sure that it's legible and gives them an opportunity to correct anything. All right, Sarah, go ahead.
One more pro tip is when they start to write, say, make sure to write your name and email really clearly. And if you say that, their handwriting will get like twice as clear every time. It's magic.
Love that. I'm gonna make a note to add that to the slide for later. Ask them to write clearly. All right.
While you're writing, I have one more note that ties right in here. So you kind of touched on this already, but throughout the script, it's broken into little chunks. And after each chunk, it's really important to pause and let them talk to you. So anywhere along here, they might start to tell you their why. They might be like, "Oh my God, that drives me crazy." Here, my first experience when I first went to vote was such and such. And if you get them telling you their why, if you get them telling you their story, that's a really powerful thing. So definitely allow this to be a conversation. Make sure that they have room to jump in. And any of these points, if they're looking engaged, is a perfect time to be like, here's the email list. Or even if they're talking and you don't want to interrupt, you can just set it up for them and put it in their hands and hand them the pen, and they will get the cue. So it's okay to let them talk. If they deviate, if if they do talk, you might end up off script, you might end up somewhere else, but you might find something there like maybe they're a programmer and we should invite them to the better voting dev team, or maybe they are involved with another group and maybe that group could use star voting. So it can actually really help you tailor your ask for other ways that they might be able to get involved.
Great tips. I made a note of both of those. Allow it to be a conversation. Ask them to write clearly. We'll have that in the next iteration of this. Excellent. So the last slide I have before we do another round of role play is what if they don't engage? There's strategy here too. So you're gonna find a balance. It's okay to be a little bit persistent, but in the end, ending up with a good impression is more important. Um, so if they, aren't sure about signing up, I might try to push forward a little bit more of the benefits of signing up and all that, because there's some natural resistance people have of talking to a stranger. So I'll be a little bit persistent pushing back against that. But ultimately, if they really want to go, then I shouldn't keep them hostage because ultimately I want them to have a good impression of the conversation. So as they're trying to leave, what I'll do is I'll say, "Hey, thank you for your time, John. You have a nice day." So what I did there is I ended the conversation on a positive note. That helps for their good impression, but it also helps maintain my morale a little bit. It makes it feel more like a natural end to the conversation instead of feeling like I'm shut down. And that personally helps me a lot. Another trick I did there is I used their name. That kind of further adds to the good impression, makes it further feel like normal conversation. Even if they're trying to leave, I might even, depending on the vibe, I might even ask their name as they're trying to leave. Like they say, "Oh, I really need to go," but I'll say, "Oh, no problem at all. Oh, by the way, what was your name?" "Oh, John. So great to meet you, John. You have a nice day." That's something that really helps me. Um, let's see. So that's that. Yeah, let's jump into it. So we're going to do an example. I'll do an example role play of the whole thing. And Sarah, I'd love to invite you to do that with me. And then after that, we're going to jump into breakout rooms and pair you off so you can try it with each other. Um, Great. So I'll stop my screen share and I'll go ahead and give a heads up that I've been spending a lot of time over the last few days preparing this presentation. I have not been polishing my own personal canvassing pitch, so this might not be the most polished, but I'm going to give it a try anyway. And also, as when you're canvassing day of, you're doing this over and over again, and you get really comfortable with it really fast. So that's also something to keep in mind. All right. So, Sarah, you ready?
Ready?
All right, great. Hello, I'm Arend. How's it going? I'm here with Equal Vote, talking to people about star voting. It's this great method that allows us to give our full and honest opinion on our ballot without us having to worry about wasting our vote. If you look at the ballot we have here, you just give each candidate a score from 0 to 5 stars. Star being 5 being your favorite, 0 being your least favorite, and then score everyone else as you like. So, what was your name, by the way?
I'm Sarah. That's
Hey,
interesting.
Sarah.
I haven't
Great to meet
seen that
you.
before.
Yeah, it's a really great method. Do you want to try it for yourself? I actually have a little example here.
Sure, what are we voting on?
It's voting for your favorite pet. Here, I'm going to hand you the board, and yeah, go ahead and try filling it out for yourself, and let me know when you're ready.
Oh my God, we had pythons in my shop class. They were so cute. 5 stars.
Yeah,
Um,
amazing.
I've never been able to decide between dog and cat.
That's
So what do I
yeah.
do here? Do I have to score them separately?
No, that's totally fine. You can, with star voting, you can give multiple candidates the same score. So, however much you like each of them, you can give them the same score.
Okay.
Great.
How's that look?
That looks perfect. So, yeah, the great thing about star voting is you can just give your honest score to every candidate, and you don't have to worry about being strategic at all. Just give your honest opinion. Wouldn't it be great if we could actually vote for our politicians this way?
Oh my God, it would be incredible.
Yeah, great. So, yeah, that's what I'm out here talking to people about today, and we are at Equal Vote are so excited to share this method with more people. And in fact, we have a whole movement where we organize events. We try to get this spread to more organizations. Would you like to be a part of that?
So how would this make voting different from, the way it is now? Like, does this help with two-party domination or something?
Yes, absolutely. So with star voting over time, yes, this will eliminate a lot of the two-party domination problems we have today. Right now, it's only safe to have two candidates on the ballot, but by that logic, we end up with just two parties in the end of the day. But if it's safe to have more candidates on the ballot where you can safely vote for your conscience, whichever one you like, then yeah, in the end, that helps reduce the two-party domination.
Got it. So the highest scoring candidate wins.
Yes. Well, not quite, sort of. With star voting, you vote once, but your ballot is actually counted in 2 rounds automatically. First, we add up all the scores to determine the two finalists, and then your vote goes to whichever of the two finalists you preferred. And that just ensures that it's just one person, one vote, and really helps to ensure that we give an honest vote.
So it's kind of like a built-in top two runoff.
Yes. Side note, if I was in California, then I'd say yes, it's just like the system we have in our real actual elections. You have the open primary where you have all the candidates, then you have that runoff. But with star voting, you don't have to have that primary anymore. You could just have those same 2 rounds just tabulated automatically with one vote.
So we could just vote once in November and not have to worry about electability and just show who we prefer to who and how much we like the candidates.
Yeah, exactly.
And
Just vote once.
and then is it still one person, one vote then?
Yeah, it's still one person, one vote, and that's the great thing about that automatic runoff. Every vote just counts as one vote towards the candidate they preferred.
Okay, so like one vote per voter.
Yes, one vote per voter.
Interesting. Yeah, no, I would love to get involved. That's actually better than I thought when you first were explaining it.
Amazing. Yep, it's not just the stars. There's a whole method towards counting that really ensures that we get the benefits from the method and resolve two-party domination and all that. So yeah, you already have the clipboard in your hand. So you can just go fill in that line with your information, and that will get you looped into any future events, looped into any information, and yeah, as you're filling it out, be sure to write clearly because sometimes we get people filling it out and we can't read it afterwards, which is always a little bit of a shame. But yeah, go ahead and fill that out. Let me know if you have any questions.
So, what kind of stuff does the organization do?
We do all kinds of work. There's a lot of lanes towards getting voting reform passed. There's, of course, campaigns like getting it used in real elections, but there's also helping to work with other organizations to get them to use it internally. We also have chapters across the country. Here in Los Angeles, we have an active chapter and we have events regularly. Pretty soon we're going to have another event to fold some more of these zines. By the way, here's a zine. Um, yeah, so um, Let me know if you have any questions about the zine.
I started
Um,
stopping talking while I was reading it really fast there.
yeah. So, we're going to actually have an event probably next month to make a whole lot more of these so that we can have spread the word better. So that's what we do.
Sounds fun.
Yeah. Great. So, yeah, thank you so much for filling that out. Let me just take a quick look here. That says, let's see. So I have Sarah at equal dot vote from Eugene. Um, phone number 1234567. Is that all right?
Correct.
Amazing. All right, so great talking to you, Sarah. I look forward to seeing you at the next event, and yeah, feel free to reach out to us anytime.
Yeah, hopefully see you at that chapter call.
Yeah, looking forward to it. All right. Really put me on, tested me there, but there you go. That's how these conversations can go. And if there's any question you don't know, again, you can say I don't know and say there's more information online. But yeah, thank you for doing that example. Sweet. So if it's okay with everybody, I'm gonna go ahead and pair us off into breakout rooms. Um, and I'm gonna go ahead and let's see. So and I'm gonna send you the breakout rooms. I'm gonna leave you in there for about 5 minutes. So if you're at the 2.5 minute mark, that'll be a good time to switch places. And yeah, so I'm gonna click breakout rooms. I'm going to do 4 rooms, and I'm gonna click create, and we're gonna see what happens.
Aaron,
Yes, go ahead, Jack.
I don't think technically this is likely to work for me. I'm using the web, and in the past I found I could not join breakout rooms.
Okay, well, I'm gonna give it a try, and we'll see what happens. But thank you for that heads up. Okay, so I'm clicking create. Um, and all right, and then I'm gonna click open all rooms. Hello, Carlo and Joni. Welcome back. How was your conversation?
I say, I'm not sure how we managed to get back first when we kept right on talking.
Yeah, I hit close and I knew that there'd be a 60-second timer before people are like actually forced back in. So I was like, the fact that people didn't come back right away, I'm like, okay, people are having good conversations then. Good to see.
Yeah, it was great.
Welcome back, welcome back.
I think
All
the one
right.
thing I would say is it was a bit rough to do it all within like 2.5 minutes. It was felt very rushed in terms of trying to get all the information out. But I guess it's good practice as well, trying to do it quickly.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's good feedback. Maybe next time I'll try to give it more of a, I don't know, how much I do next time. Maybe
I
I'll
mean,
try
it might be
eight.
good
Yeah,
because
maybe.
it's good to have, quick interactions and get as much information out as quick as you can. But I did notice it was a little difficult for me first time to try to do it all enough.
Good to
So,
know.
and was
Good to know.
Jack able to get into a breakout room?
He was.
Oh, good.
Yeah, he had me just on the verge of signing up to volunteer when we got cut off.
That's pretty good.
Good job. Good job.
Great job. Great job. All right. So glad to hear it went well. So we are towards the end of the presentation now. I'm just going to give a few more tips about for people organizing their own canvases. And then we're going to have Q&A, and then we're going to have a little activity at the end for figuring out our goal. With everyone's permission, I'd love to extend today another 10-15 minutes just to make sure we have enough time for Q&A. That's cool with everybody. So we'll be ending at 6:45 Pacific. Excellent. So I'll jump into the share my screen. And let's go over let's go back here. All right, so for organizer tips, I actually prepared a printout that you can, magnet over to your fridge and check things off just to make sure you have everything all set. because there's a lot of like small kind of steps to do that you don't think about sometimes when you're preparing to host a Canvas. So some things to do now is to make sure you have your handouts prepared. So I recommend printing out those best pet quarter sheets. And also to do now is to fill out the form indicating your interest to host a Canvas in your area. Once you've filled out that form, me and some other volunteers will be looking at it to make sure we have an event posted for your area to get more people aware of it. And we'll also be sure to feature you in email blasts. So good to get that filled out, and especially good to get that filled out in the next few days since we have another email blast going out soon. Invite your friends, and make sure to add me to your contact list because I'm going to be the default contact for anybody signing up to the events last minute. So I may be calling you day of. So be prepared for that. All right, just skimming through here. Prepare your clipboard. Make sure to send reminders to anybody who's RSVP'd. Make sure to bring water, snacks, sun protection, etc. Um, Day of, there's another checklist attached here to run sort of a minimal version of the canvassing training we did today. And a big one day of is take a bunch of pictures. It'd be great to have group pictures, candidates of everybody canvassing, and when you're taking pictures, feature the star ballot whenever you can. That's always um, great to have that for social media and such. And have an after party. So you've just done this big thing with your canvassers. It's great to hang out and socialize afterwards. And the after party can be as simple as whoever wants to keep chatting and hanging out, we're gonna head over to this restaurant. That's all you need to say in terms of organizing after party, and I that's always my favorite part of these events. All right, so No Kings is done. You're done canvassing. Within a few days after canvassing, post your photos in the com submissions channel on Slack. There's actually something I meant to fix before sharing this. It's com submissions plural. So I'm gonna fix that in the resources right after this call. Um, uh, Enter your all the Canvas signups written on your sheet. You're going to be manually entering them on starvoting.org/join. And again, it's important for you to do that within a few days after the canvas, so that we'll have the final stats and when we do our like big email blast, kind of congratulating ourselves for doing this big thing. Um, Thank your canvassers, maintain that rapport with them, and it'd also be great if you send an intro email to your new signups. Our orientation will also be reaching out to your new signups, getting them plugged into our orientation meetings. But if you can give them a personalized email on top of that, thanking them for signing up and saying you're excited to work with them at future events, that also goes a long way to personalize it. And then afterwards, you can start thinking about what's next for your area. Do you want to organize another social? Do you have a zine folding event? More canvassing? There's loads of events to think about. And you have that list of contacts. Feel free to keep reaching out to them. Keep like building that network and get them plugged into other star voting stuff. And then the second page here is going to be the canvasser training checklist. And Sarah, you have your hand raised.
Yeah. So I actually have a photo op request.
Yeah.
We have had some really great group photos coming in and great protest photos or demonstration photos, but we're a little bit short on action photos that show like one person canvassing the other, or like where you're the person teaching and then somebody else is like signing your clipboard or something. If you get somebody who's really good and they want to sign, and you can get a third person take like a photo of you in that moment. It shouldn't be candid. It should actually be posed so that it's a really good photo, but you can pretend that it's candid. So that is the extra credit assignment for No Kings this time.
Amazing. Yeah, that sounds great. And yeah, so getting those photos is really great, and then making sure to post them, remembering to post them afterwards is the other hurdle because we'd love to have these in our archive of photos to show how big our movement is. Great. So before the Canvas day of, you can do a little Canvas training. It's going to be very familiar to what we did today. So have everyone share their why, because again, the why is an important fallback during canvassing. Walk through the different resources on the clipboard, and then do a practice run. Have everyone be comfortable explaining what's wrong with the current method, what is star voting, explaining how the star voting tally works. And then you can make those same clarifications I made today as well. And then you can do another role play just like we did today. Like you can do a demo in front of the canvassers and then have people pair off to try it as well. Sweet. So that is all for the organizer tips. So again, I recommend you print this out and then check them off as you do these steps. And that's the end of the core presentation. So I'm going to put this resource page up for again for you to have all the links you need. And then we're going to transition from here into Q&A. And we have about 10 minutes of, well, actually, we have 15 minutes of Q&A before we move into our final activity. All right. Lynn, go for it.
Arend, I didn't get your number in quickly enough before it scrolled off the screen. If you can give that again.
Absolutely. So I'll give that again, but also that organizer checklist was is available at this link, starvoting.org/canvas_organizer checklist. So you'll also have access to it there. But I will also be putting it in the chat. So Aaron's number 678-925-6718. Boom. Excellent. All right. I'm going to go ahead and end the screen share for the Q&A so we can all see each other. And Lynn, go for it.
Thanks. I think it would be really helpful for me. So frequently, as soon as you say the word voting or voting reform, people go, oh, ranked choice voting. And out of the gate, that is such a conflated uh, place we're at. I'd like just and I know we have a zine now for that. So if we had both zines, that would be a good way to hand off. But just a couple real simple comebacks to that would help me a lot.
Yeah, so I'll give a couple, but I think it'll be great to hear others' ideas and Sarah's idea. So you can refer to the FAQ for the formal response on there. But if I were to give one off the top of my head, I would say, um, well, first off, I tried to gauge whether they're have a positive view or not of ranked choice voting. If they seem to have a positive view of it, I'd be like, great. Well, star voting is actually an upgraded version of ranked choice voting, and one of the primary differences is star voting is more expressive. So you see on this ballot, because side note, you can transition this into your 0 to 5 star explanation. So you can see on this ballot, you can show your 0 to 5 star support for every candidate, and that allows you to show not just your relative ranking, but also your full how much you like each candidate. So not just who you like. So in addition to showing who your second favorite is, you can show how much you like that second favorite, whether they're a 2 star candidate or a 4 star candidate. And then the second half I give to that answer, if they are pushing to ask like, oh, why not just go with ranked choice voting? I might say, well, ranked choice voting has been around for a long time. When it was invented 150 years ago, it was cutting edge, but now we've found a lot of problems, and there's issues with vote splitting still occurring. There's issues with ballot invalidation, and star voting is really invented as the spiritual successor that can deliver on the vision without having those problems. So that's my take at it. Again, refer to the FAQ for our formal wording on that. But I'd love to hear other people's takes on that question. Sarah, go ahead.
One of the things that is really, really effective is, like you said, so star voting is actually an upgrade to ranked choice voting that was invented to better deliver on the goals while addressing some kind of known issues with the older system. One of the big issues with ranked choice voting is high rates of voter errors. So when you're filling out your ballot, like on this pet poll, if you had ranked dog and cat equally in ranked choice voting, that would be a voided ballot. But with star voting, you're able to show that you love both dog and cat. So star voting is way more user friendly. And then because it is scoring, it's just added up with basic addition. So it's a lot simpler to tally, simpler to audit, more secure.
Great. Anyone else want to give it a try before I pass it off to Nikki? All right, Nikki, what's your question?
Um, so I have a couple questions. Did you have a section after this for people to kind of give their own tips, or should we just kind of see them here?
I didn't have a. This is a good spot for that, I think. Yeah, go for it.
Okay. Yeah, I'll just start off with a great tip. If especially if you're well, it's worked in my experience at least especially if you're trying to maximize the amount of signups you get. So when I've done signature gathering before, I've typically got, not to like humble brag, but like 2 to 5 times as many signups as other people, and a like gold star technique is to look for groups of people instead of just like finding individuals,
Mhm.
especially if they're just like standing around not talking. Like if they're like already kind of bored and maybe having an awkward moment, it can be a big relief for them for someone to break that up. So yeah, usually if you do that with a group and you get like one person to sign, everybody's like, yeah, sure, why not? um, so that's a good one. And then I had a few questions, but I'll try to keep them brief and feel free to cut me off. So the probably the big one I'm wondering is the what all are you asking from people on the sign up sheet? And is there any of that that's like necessary or more necessary? A big question I've also often got is like, do I need to fill out all this? I don't want to. And to be able to say, that's okay, but we really love for you to at least fill in, your name, your email, or whatever.
That's a great question, and that's something I'll address, and I think that's a good thing for me to address in future ones. Let me share my screen to show what our sign up sheet looks like. So, um, name, I'd like to have that. Um, I'd say name, zip, and email would be really helpful for us to have. And then it's pretty common for people to opt out of phone. And then if people ask about the volunteer checkbox, that flags in their system whether they're interested in volunteering. Although to they go through the same pipeline regardless if they check that box. Like we want everybody to go into orientation whether they plan to volunteer or not. But having
Mhm.
them check that box helps them to kind of helps us to know who to reach out to if we're looking to give action items, and it also helps them to kind of make that decision internally to think about are they a volunteer or not.
Mhm.
I saw Sarah had something to add on this, and then we'll go to Jack after that. Or yeah,
Yeah, it really helps people want to fill out the whole thing if we tell them how we use the information. So
Mhm.
I like to say, your zip code will help us target our emails so we're not sending you things that aren't relevant to you. Um, we don't send out that many email blasts, honestly. It's usually like one or two a month. So we don't spam you. And then the phone is if you are, become a member of a chapter or join a committee or something, then we'll often send you text updates or text action items. So that would just be for things that you want to be involved in, you want reminders for.
yes,
Makes sense.
100%. All right, so we'll go to Jack's question next, and then we can go back to Nikki if you have more questions.
No worries.
Speaking of the sign up, I'd like to suggest that if there's time to make the sheets, just prepare sheets with just one entry for one person and hand that blank sheet to them instead of showing them the personally identifiable information of all the people who have already signed with us. That's it.
Yeah, that's a good point. And if you're concerned about that, I actually recommend printing out a QR code with the starvoting.org/join link. And if you're concerned about if especially if people are concerned about having their information on that sign up sheet, then using that link is a good direct way to do that.
Well, in
Yeah.
that information is in the handout, isn't it?
Yes. Although if you can get them to sign up on the spot, that's really helpful because people will, even if they say they're going to follow up with the best intentions, they usually don't. So that's kind of the nice thing about the sign up sheet is it creates a nice forcing factor for them to sign up on the spot. But there's a way to do that with a QR code as well. Um, Sarah, did you have something to add on this specific one?
Um, I have never had somebody be concerned about that when I was canvassing, but definitely if they're concerned about that, that's when I would volunteer. You can just pull this up on your phone and do it there if you want it more secure. And starvoting.org/join/sign up and equal.vote/join and /sign up, they all go the same place. So any of those links are fine.
I actually couldn't get sign up fixed. I meant to fix that one, but there's
Oh.
technical issues there, so please use /join. Okay. Great. Then I'll pass it back to Nikki.
Um, the quick little one, and then I have another one, just real quick. Do you prefer
Yeah.
your phone number or to contact you on Slack? We typically talk on Slack, but
It really, for me, they both give me notification on my phone either way.
okay,
I usually give out my phone number for this context because most people tend to be more responsive on phone on a short notice. But for me, I'm equally responsive on both.
okay. Just want to know your preference.
Yeah,
And then
just don't send me an email. So if I need to know about it quickly, do Slack or phone.
okay. Um, and then for the you said you on one of these handouts or maybe one of the resources you provided some like responses for like frequently asked questions, right? Is one of them about one person, one vote? I feel like okay, there is Sarah.
Yes, I
Okay.
saw Sarah nod, but I'm gonna pull it up as well just so we can see it together. Um,
Like I feel confident about it, but I feel like that's one that could trip up a lot of people.
There we
And
go.
it'd be good for
there
me
we
to
go. Oh yeah,
rehash
here we
too.
go.
Mm-hmm.
There it is. So I'm going to take a note from what Sarah said earlier, where if anybody is not doesn't know this off the top of their head, they can just pull up this clipboard and say, "Oh, well, let's read the answer together." Like it's okay to read it word for word. So the answer is yes, your ballot is one vote, and your full vote goes to the finalist you prefer. The legal definition of one person, one vote is an equally weighted vote, and star voting ensures every voter has an equally weighted vote. So that's
Okay.
that.
And I have one more, but feel free to pass it around.
All right, we'll go to Justin, then back to Nikki.
Uh, is it so we're gonna be like walking around? This won't be like a table situation where you like stand up at the table or anything like that, just to confirm. Right?
It's going to depend on your who's organizing your canvas. Some of our organizers have worked with Indivisible to get a table at that O Kings rally, but in other cases they do the canvassing.
I can say I really liked having a table at the No Kings in October, but this time around we're not going to have a table because of other circumstances. I won't be in Portland.
I
Yeah,
also love
tabling you
that
get
we
like
yeah. Go
great
ahead, sir.
longer conversations, but if you're walking around, you actually can get more people. So pros and cons.
I also love that we have the whole Washington, D.C. No Kings group in attendance here with Sherry, Justin, and Jack. So yeah, if you guys are interested in a table, I definitely encourage you all to reach out to the organizers of the one you're attending.
Oh, Justin, are you doing the DC one also?
I think after I was on the fence, but I think after this workshop, and probably
Okay,
I
so
will.
we should
Yes,
probably connect. You must be on Slack. Let's connect on Slack.
sure. Yeah.
Jack and I have been communicating on Signal now also.
Okay, that works.
Love it. All right, Nikki. And we'll probably close off with, after your question, we'll probably switch to the final activity and then we'll let people go.
Sure. Does anybody else want to go? I've asked a lot. Okay. This may be a bit open-ended one too. What do you think are great opening questions? Like I found, you know, getting people talking right off the bat, not asking like a yes or no question. Like off the top of my head, I'd like, what do you most dislike about elections or something like that. But have you found any to be pretty successful
How do you feel
in
about
any?
two-party domination?
Yeah. Hmm.
Let's see. I guess my experience is, well, you have to be pretty confident, I suppose, to do the open-ended questions because you need to be confident that you can respond to whatever they give. So I don't necessarily
Fair.
recommend that to everybody, but if you're comfortable enough, which I don't even know if I'd say I'm comfortable enough to ask people open-ended questions. But let's see. Yeah, how do you feel about two-party domination is a good one. After they've filled out the ballot, I'll say, "Oh, what did you think about that?" That at least limits it to the ballot context. But yeah, I don't have any other ones off the top of my head. Anybody else have any open-ended questions they like asking people?
Have you heard of star voting or ranked choice voting?
Hmm.
That's a really good opening line. That kind of just like broaches the whole subject.
Great, Justin.
I think in Virginia we have ranked choice voting for Democrat Party primaries, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. Should I build off of that maybe? For like if I start talking about something and they say, "Oh, is this like ranked choice voting?" Just build off of that excitement and like enthusiasm for that.
Yeah, when we first started canvassing in Eugene, we got a lot of, is this ranked choice voting? And then over the last couple of years, we've started to get a lot more people say, is this ranked choice voting? So either way, it is by far our most frequently asked question. And then you can pretty well tell if they have a positive reaction or a negative one. And either way, it's a great segue into, star voting does all the great things that ranked choice voting does and more, or else star voting addresses all of the issues with ranked choice voting that people are upset about.
Great. All right. Any final thoughts before I jump into the closing activity?
Well,
Carlo, go for it.
one question. This is a little silly. Uh, can I make my own t-shirt? Because I saw on the website that I don't think there's one in my size. Would that be okay? To like
Yeah,
put the Equal
please.
Vote logo on it?
That'd be amazing. Um,
Yeah.
we've been wanting to host a screen printing workshop and maybe we'll try and do that in the same model where we do like a bunch of them all around the country and we mail out a screen or something like that. But we've done it in the past where we've like thrifted a bunch of different shirts or had people bring in their shirts to screen print, and it's super fun.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
And definitely feel free to follow up with me if you have trouble finding any of our logos or need any help with that. I know we have a brand guide somewhere that might be able to help, but yeah, just let me know. And yeah, that's great. Great question.
Yeah, most everything you might want is up there at the activist toolkit. So starvoting.org/activist_toolkit.
Great. Sweet. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and I just occurred to me I don't think I did this in a bit, but I'm gonna post the presentation on the chat one more time for anybody who missed it on the QR code and all that. And then I'm going to share my screen and we're going to close off with an activity where we're going to figure out what our national goal is going to be for signups at No Kings. Um, so just to give you some context for how I think about this, I ran through a few numbers, through a few scenarios here, and depending on exactly how many locations we have No Kings protests, how many canvassers we have per location, and how many emails each canvasser can get, that varies wildly with how many signups we can get. So right now, I think the pessimistic end is here at the 36 signups because we have about 8 locations confirmed, which is actually really cool. I'm really happy that we're at that number already. Eight locations confirmed, probably about one and a half people per location. And if everybody just has a bad day, then we'll say 3 emails per person. But what's kind of encouraging here is on any of these metrics, if we can just get one or two more, if you can if there's no event in your area and you can host it, or if you can get one extra friend to join you, or if you can get one extra signature, the numbers across the board can shoot up quite drastically from 36 to 150 to 384 would be a higher end. So we want a goal that's ambitious and achievable. And for us to figure out what that goal should be, I've invented a new voting method. I would like everybody to post in the chat what they think the goal should be, and then I'm going to eyeball it and try to pick the median from there. So take a second to think about it and post what you think the goal should be, and then um, I'll close the polls in a minute or two.
I don't want to distract too much, but I'm not exactly sure what you're asking.
Post a number for what you think our national goal should be. If like, how much do you think we can get 100 signups? Maybe you can post that as what you think the goal should be. So I'm just looking for people to post a number in chat for what they think we should shoot towards.
Regardless of how many locations.
Well, some of this is unknown. Like
Okay.
we're taking a guess at how many locations there's going to be. Like so far there's 8, but depending on how people feel after this call or who else is how much more momentum we get, there could be more. And it's hard for me to predict how many people are going to be at each one and all that. So some of this is predicting the future based off where we think the energy is going to go and what we think we can shoot towards.
Okay. I'm inclined to do like a calculation. So
yeah,
I don't know. Yeah.
Go for it.
Yeah.
All right, let me take a look at the chat, see what we got coming in so far. All right. I see 200, I see 450, I see 250, 200, 384. I did not put a lot of thought into how I'm going to compute this median. Okay, let me try to do this. 200. So I've got 200 votes. I'm going to write that down. 200, 200, 200. Looks like those kind of represent the lower bound. And then we have a 250 next. And then next highest is 384, 400, and then we have 450 at the upper bound. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's 7 votes. And Jack, I think Jack put 1 as his vote. So we have, I think that's everybody. I think that's 8. And I think I'll abstain from voting because I have enough going on computing the result. But I believe that puts the median at 250. That was Carlos one. So that's it then. 250 is going to be our big national goal to push for. And I'm really excited. If we got 250 new signups from this event, that would be so great, so huge. And that's gonna be really exciting after that we can rally to get them all to orientations and we'll have a number of great new volunteers. So I'm excited for the future. Great. Great meeting everyone. We can close it off there. Any final thoughts people want to add before we close it off?
Well, I was just going to send Justin my phone number for Signal because I'm not sure I know how to get him on the Slack.
I can message you on Slack.
So okay, I just sent you my number also.
Perfect. Great to see you all. I know Joni, Justin, it's been a while, and Carlo, great to see you. Thanks everyone.
Thanks everyone. All right, we'll go and close it off. Sarah, we can stick around a little bit if you want to chat. But for everybody else, thank you for being here.
Yeah, and thank you, Aaron, for putting this together. It was beautiful and well documented and super easy to replicate for the future. So this has been on the to-do list for a while, and I think it was awesome.
Absolutely. It was so exciting putting this together.
Yeah, thank you so much.
No problem.